Picture this. You sit quietly, but inside everything feels heavy, as if a storm is brewing beneath your skin. You notice the way her eyes avoid yours, the subtle distance growing between you two like a shadow stretching across a once warm room. You replay every conversation, every smile, searching for the moment something shifted. But the truth is, it wasn't one moment. It was many. The silences, the pauses, the small tests you didn't realize were happening all along. This isn't just about love fading away. It's about something far more primal and precise. It's about value being measured in silence and tension. She isn't pulling away because she hates you or because she stopped caring. She's pulled back because deep inside, something in her nervous system is afraid to lose what matters most. It's a fear that doesn't speak in words, but in subtle actions and emotional distances. And you, brother, are right at the center of that invisible battlefield. You feel it in your chest, the quiet weight of uncertainty. You want to fix it, to explain, to bring back what was lost. But what you don't yet understand is that this isn't a problem to solve with words or effort alone. It's a test, an ancient one, carved into human biology. The woman you care for is not just seeking love, she's seeking proof. Proof that you can stand steady when the ground beneath shifts. Proof that your strength isn't only in what you say, but in how you hold yourself when emotions collide. This test is not cruel, it's survival, it's instinct, and it's how attraction deepens or dissolves in silence. The dopamine in her brain doesn't reward comfort. It craves contrast, tension, uncertainty. So she pushes, she questions, she steps back, not to punish, but to see if you fall apart or if you stand firm. And what happens next will decide whether you grow closer or drift apart. This is the truth behind every emotional pull and every silent withdrawal. It's why love sometimes feels like a battle, because it is. Not fought with swords or words, but with emotional resilience and quiet strength. The question is, when the pressure comes, will you collapse or will you rise? You're sitting in silence, not because there's nothing to say, but because everything inside you feels too heavy to release. You remember when her presence felt effortless, when her laughter didn't carry tension, when her touch didn't feel conditional. Now, every pause feels loaded. Every message feels measured. Every interaction feels like it's quietly judging you. As a man, you don't panic loudly. You internalize. You ask yourself where you slipped, where you softened, where you gave too much of yourself. And yet the truth is colder and far more unsettling. This moment was never about a mistake. It was about value. When a woman begins to emotionally invest, her world subtly shifts. What once felt exciting now carries the risk of loss. And loss to the human brain, especially the female brain shaped by evolutionary survival, is a threat. Her emotions don't move toward peace in response to threat. They move toward verification. She begins to observe you differently, not with malice, not with strategy, but with instinct. Her nervous system asks a single question again and again. Is this man still strong when uncertainty enters the room? From the inside, her emotions feel contradictory. She may feel drawn to you and unsettled by you at the same time. She may crave closeness, yet pull away without understanding why. This is not manipulation, it is biology expressing itself emotionally. Dopamine, the chemical of desire and anticipation, does not reward stability alone. It rewards contrast, emotional tension, movement between presence and absence. And so without planning it, she introduces friction. She delays affection. She questions what once felt secure. She creates emotional resistance not to hurt you, but to feel reassured through your response. And brother, this is where the emotional battlefield forms. You feel the shift and your instinct is to repair it. You explain your intentions. You offer reassurance. You expose more of your heart, believing that honesty will bring closeness back. But attraction does not respond to effort the way love stories promise it does. Attraction responds to regulation, to composure, to emotional self-control. The moment you become reactive, the moment your emotions spill outward in search of validation, something inside her tightens instead of softening. Not because she wants power, but because instability triggers subconscious doubt. From her perspective, your emotional collapse feels unsafe. From your perspective, her withdrawal feels cruel. Both are emotional truths existing at the same time. She does not wake up planning to test you. She wakes up feeling uncertain, and uncertainty demands proof. proof that you are not anchored to her mood, proof that you will not dissolve when emotional pressure is applied, proof that your sense of self exists independent of her reassurance. Every woman does this in her own way. Some do it softly through silence and distance. Others do it loudly through arguments and emotional confrontation. But the mechanism is the same. She creates pressure to observe your nervous system under stress. And every man responds in one of two ways. He either reacts or he regulates. The man who reacts tries to fix the emotion immediately. He chases clarity. He demands reassurance. He negotiates his worth. He believes love is something to be proven through emotional exposure. Slowly, quietly, his value erodes. Not in her words, but in her biology. Her attraction doesn't disappear suddenly. It fades neurologically. The chemistry weakens. The polarity collapses. She doesn't hate him. She simply stops feeling pulled toward him. The man who regulates does something different. He feels the same confusion, the same fear, the same desire to restore closeness. But he does not act from it. He remains grounded. He continues his life, his routines, his discipline. His emotional center does not move with her turbulence. And this steadiness sends a message deeper than language. I am not shaken. I am not dependent. I am still me. That steadiness does something powerful inside her. Her nervous system relaxes. Her fear of loss dissolves because emotional strength registers as safety. Not the safety of predictability, but the safety of resilience. She doesn't feel the need to test what isn't collapsing. Modern culture never explains this to men. It teaches emotional openness without emotional mastery. It praises vulnerability without structure. And when men follow that advice and lose attraction, they are told something is wrong with them, or worse, that something is wrong with women. But the truth is simpler and harsher. Unregulated vulnerability creates instability. Instability kills desire. This isn't moral, it's mechanical. Women test the men they're afraid to lose because fear demands reassurance. Men fail those tests because they were never taught that strength is emotional regulation, not emotional suppression. A man who controls his reactions is not cold, he is centered. He does not withdraw love, he withdraws volatility. When a man fails these tests repeatedly, he becomes emotionally predictable, always available, always explaining, always seeking confirmation. And while predictability feels safe, it does not feel compelling. She does not leave in anger. She leaves in quiet detachment. The relationship collapses not through betrayal, but through emotional flatness. Here's the bitter truth that most men only learn through loss. Women test the men they value and abandon the men who lose themselves trying to pass. This is not cruelty. It is ancient selection playing out in modern relationships. The solution is not to become distant, manipulative, or unfeeling. The solution is mastery. You master your emotions instead of offering them as currency. You ground yourself instead of chasing reassurance. You remain anchored in who you are, regardless of her fluctuations. Because a man who cannot be emotionally shaken cannot be emotionally controlled. And when that presence becomes consistent, the tests end. Not because she won, but because there is nothing left to doubt. If this message stirred something inside you, don't rush to silence it. That discomfort isn't weakness, it's awareness waking up. Most men spend their lives trying to be chosen, trying to be understood, trying to prove their worth through effort, emotion, and sacrifice. And slowly, without realizing it, they lose themselves in that process. What you've heard today isn't meant to make you angry, and it isn't meant to make you bitter. It's meant to make you conscious. Understand this clearly. Love does not disappear because you cared too little. It disappears because you forgot to remain solid while caring. The world doesn't test men when they are weak. It tests them when they are valuable. Pressure arrives not to break you, but to reveal whether you have a center strong enough to hold when emotions fluctuate. You don't fail because you feel deeply. You fail when your emotions control you. Do not confuse emotional mastery with emotional suppression. A grounded man still feels pain. He still feels longing. He still feels fear. But he does not hand those emotions over as leverage. He does not beg for reassurance. He does not negotiate his identity to keep someone close. He remains anchored in who he is, with or without approval. Walk away from this understanding without hatred. Hatred blinds. Walk away without resentment. Resentment weakens. Instead, walk away with clarity, with discipline, with the quiet confidence of a man who no longer needs to be validated to feel whole. Relationships are not won by force or sacrifice alone. They are sustained by emotional strength, self-respect, and presence. And remember this above all else. When you stop collapsing under pressure, when you stop chasing what tests you, when you stop seeking worth outside yourself, the dynamic changes. Not because others suddenly become better, but because you become unshakable. A man who stands firm in his center doesn't demand loyalty, attention, or desire. He naturally commands respect. Carry that with you. Not as armor, but as alignment. Not as bitterness, but as wisdom. And whatever comes next in your life, meet it standing.